Hi, this is Celeste. I'm a nationally certified interventionist, family coach, and recovery coach. And I'm just seeing more and more of this politically correct society that we're living in. And we have so many issues going on, like the Me Too movement and Black Lives Matter and all these different movements and anti-bullying and things like that, and trying to raise a whole lot of awareness in political correctness and standing up for issues. And I feel like at the same time, so many of us are afraid to confront some of the issues that are negatively impacting our lives. And even I'll give you a recent example in a workplace where there was some bullying going on, and the person took all the right steps. They did all the right things. They talked to the colleague that was causing the issue, and thought that there was some resolution. There was some apologies, and things were better for a bit, and then it regressed back to the same behavior. So the person took it to a supervisor, and they promised it would be addressed, and then again it reverted back to the way it was, and they weren't holding up their end of the bargain. The person went back and said, this isn't working. They took steps to do the meeting and all this stuff, and never happened. And it was a matter of the supervisors and management being so afraid to address the bullying in the situation, and upsetting that person who was actually doing the bullying. And it's almost like people are afraid sometimes to stand up for issues that are important, and issues that we give a lot of lip service to, and say bullying in the workplace isn't right, racism isn't right, all these things aren't right, domestic violence isn't right. But then they're afraid when the shit hits the fan to actually stand up and do the right thing. And so many people are so afraid of that conflict and the resulting shit show that could happen by saying something to that other person and actually taking a stand on it. So I think a lot of people give lip service to it, and even in that bullying situation, oftentimes I hear people that are being bullied, and the person being bullied is saying, well, don't take it personally, just don't worry about it, just let it blow over, blah blah blah. And it's almost, again, people are so afraid to stand up for what's right and what's true, and back some of these important issues that we're fighting for. And it's such a problem within a lot of families. Like, a lot of these same dynamics happen in families when there's dysfunctional family dynamics going on, and abuse and bullying within the family dynamic. And a lot of times other family members are seeing this going on and saying, well, that's just how they are, and don't take it personally, and just don't say anything because they'll be offended. And it's very much condoning this behavior, or even saying something like, oh, well, it's family, you can't stop talking to them because they're family. And it seems like we're fighting so hard for so many of these issues, but then when push comes to shove, sometimes even literally, people are just afraid to stand up. And it can be very difficult if you're in that situation where you're the one that's taking the brunt of this abuse, whether it be the racism or the bullying, or the abuse within a family. It can be very hard to be able to stand up for yourself and say no. It's not about not saying anything so people will get offended. It's not about me taking it personally. And we get, unfortunately, all this bullshit advice from people that maybe mean well, but at the end of the day, they're dysfunctional too, and they've got their own issues. And I love the quote from Brene Brown in one of her talks that she did, where she says, you have to not work your shit out on other people. Like, it's just not okay. We all have our pain. We've all been damaged in some way. You don't get through life without having some hurts or some pain. And yeah, some are more severe, more significant than others, but it's not okay to take that pain out on somebody else, right? And that pain might not be our fault, but we do have a responsibility to heal and to not take that out on other people. And it's this really unfortunate dynamic that I see happening so very often. And it's such a mind fuck when you have people telling you, those glib responses that say, well, just don't worry about it, or don't say anything, or you'll rock the boat, or whatever. And I really think that, and I know I was victim to that. Like, I prayed it, I fell into that trap of listening to all that glib, dysfunctional advice. And at the end of the day, it brought me so much stress and anxiety. And, I think for the sake of political correctness, I think sometimes or not causing a conflict, we've gotten to this point where we're afraid to say anything. We're afraid to call anybody out on their bullshit and say, I get it. I get that you're a hurting person in pain, but I'm not willing to take the brunt of it. Like, I've got my own stuff to work on, and doing it in a compassionate way. I've tested this out with people, and I've tried to go to them in a compassionate way and say, look, I'm really sorry for what you're going through, but at the same time, I can't take this on. And a lot of times, sometimes it works so good. Sometimes it builds the relationship, and sometimes the other person is just in too much pain to be able to add to that dynamic in a positive manner. Sometimes they'll get even more angry, or they'll lash out more, they'll get more frustrated and direct that more towards you. So I think it's really important that we really know our bottom lines. And I really want to challenge you in this, if you're watching this today, to understand that, yeah, sometimes those conversations will go really, really well, and also challenge you that if they don't go well, that you don't need to stay in that dysfunctional, abusive situation just because people tell you, oh, that's just how the person is. Don't take it personally. Don't say anything. Don't rock the boat. You're every bit as much worthy as the next person, and not taking that on. And we can call people out on their bullshit in a compassionate way and say, look, I'm really sorry that you're struggling. At the same time, I need to care for myself, and that's an act of self-love and self-care, and not buying into all those glib responses. And I really just wanted to encourage you today that if you're going through one of those situations, to really come up with an action plan for yourself on how you can address that in a compassionate way, and hopefully it goes well, and hopefully improves that situation, that relationship, and hopefully you can build on that relationship and make it better. But if not, come up with that action plan, that backup plan, to get yourself out of that situation, because at the end of the day, life is too short to spend it being somebody else's battering ram because it's politically correct. Like, it's not okay. And I wanted to share that with you today. And if that's something that you want to work on specifically, you can check out the caption below and check out a couple of my coaching programs and see if one applies to you. If you're not sure where you fit into one of those coaching programs, please feel free to direct message me. We can talk about it and figure out which one's going to work best for you. Thank you for tuning in.